Well, ready when you are, I guess.
All right. I don't know. How do we want to introduce this?
I would probably just do a similar jingle to what I did last time.
Okay.
Which was essentially nick the hardcore history theme and just stick Haroldcore history on over the top.
Okay.
December 7th, 1941. A date which will live
in infamy.
It's Haroldcore history.
Hello. Welcome to Haroldcore history.
What? Can I stop you there?
Already?
Yeah, already.
What?
Why did that have to be so camp?
Oh. Why was that camp? That was
pretty camp.
That was my old-timey Australian radio voice. So how campy do you want to get?
On a scale of 0 to John Michael Housen, it was...
Sorry, it's the question, how campy do I want to get?
Yeah, how campy do you want it to be?
A bit early in the evening.
Haven't you listened to old radio from the 30s? It's all very campy. Wiggins knows what I'm talking about. Bradman hit the ball and goes through the field. Everybody claps and has a wonderful time.
Of course I do.
Oh, look at that.
I listen to little else.
That's right.
Buckland's just trolling through 30s cricket audio.
Lady Menzies went out today showing a bit of ankle. Ooh, blimey.
I feel I've derailed it slightly.
Already, we've done well. Do you want me to start again? I'll come in again.
Come in again.
G'day. Welcome to Haroldcore Histories.
Maddie, why so camp?
Yeah. All right. Yes. Well, I'm completely lost now. I gotta find my normal voice.
Irony.
Hello.
Oh, we go. Oh.
Nice.
Premonition.
What the fuck is going on? Hello. Welcome to Haroldcore Histories, the once only podcast where we look at famous Harolds through history.
Healthy?
Oh, I'm so glad I did that stuff on the giraffe.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to cutting him out, aren't they? They're getting rid of Harold. Anyway, born in Stanmore, New South Wales on the 5th of August 1908, Prime Minister Harold Holt was born. He was the first Prime Minister to be born in the Commonwealth of Australia. Just think about that. What a great Prime Minister that is.
Throw the year at us again.
1908.
1901.
So,
yeah.
Yep, was when Australia became the Commonwealth. He was the first one. Anyway, he was the eldest son of Thomas and Olive. He and his brother Cliff spent their early life in Sydney. They went to 3 different schools in a few years. Thomas divorced Olive and went to work at the Tivoli theatre circuit, where he buggered off overseas as quickly as he could.
Okay.
He went to London and he went to New York.
Son of a bitch.
So give us that theatre circuit again.
So the Tivoli theatre circuit.
Well, that
Or
was...
Tivoli, it might have been called.
Were we assuming that was like a cracker of a theatre circuit?
I believe so. I think that Tivoli Theatre was still in Sydney.
I've heard of that.
All right.
I don't know if it's still in Sydney.
Now I know what you're talking about.
Okay. So I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, which I'm probably not.
Right, gotcha.
So they had theatres in New York and London. So he buggered off as quickly as he could. So he divorced his wife and then shot through to London and New York and enrolled the sons as boarders in Melbourne.
What, before he left?
Yeah.
Just said, fuck.
So, yeah, I'm going to London, New York. You're going to boarding school. See you later.
I'm going this way.
Bye-bye.
You're going here. Oh, for how long? To live.
You must stay.
I'm going to the theatre circuit. I'm going to London, New York, the most vibrant cities in the world. And, you're going to Melbourne. Yep. See you later.
Yes.
Wesley College. So, yeah, that would have been when he was about 14. Yes, so he was 14. Now,
I imagine that made him feel quite loved.
Well, there's more coming. It's funny you should say that. It's a weird family setup they've got here. So, speaking of his family, when Harold Holt was 16, his mother died, and neither he, his brother, or his father attended her funeral.
Oh. What?
Okay.
Just bad cough that day, or?
Too far.
Yes, long way.
Couldn't be asked. Now, So that's in 1924. A formative event was his singing performance at his school's annual speech night in December 1926, the proudest moment of his life to date. However, none of his family members showed up.
Well, they got the wrong memo. It was a speech night, not a singing
They were
night.
at the funeral 2 years earlier. They missed it by 2 years. 2 years later, they turned up at his singing event.
I picked it early, so...
So, I don't know what's going on with his family, but none of his family were present. And it says here, he never forgot the loneliness he felt that night. Driving force. So, he won a scholarship to Queen's College at the University of Melbourne, and he fucking kicked ass. It doesn't say that here, but...
That's the vibe you got?
That's a very strong vibe. He got school blues, so college blues, excelling in Australian rules football and cricket, in the Debate Society, Oratory Society, winning of essay prizes, a member of the debating team that went in the Australian A-grade debating team, president of both the Sports and Social Club and the Law Student Society.
Oh, well, he didn't have any family commitments to try and keep,
No.
so...
I have one question.
Yes.
Where did he bat?
I don't have any... I knew you were going to ask that. But I don't have any details on his batting, whether he was a batter or bowler.
Let's call him Aristi number 4.
Yeah,
And a very, very solid gully fieldsman.
Yeah, I'm looking at his build. He didn't look like a bowler, but he's a broad-shouldered, probably number 4 batsman. One knee swipe over cover, I reckon.
And we lost everyone. Everyone's gone. It's just us.
Yeah. Sorry.
If my constant interrupting hadn't already lost people.
Every time he hit a boundary, no one applauded. No, that's not in here. Also
No one came to watch him play.
Also from my father, even from his college days, this is from my dad, when I told him I was doing this, he said, even in his college days, he was also a renowned pants man.
Yeah.
A stick man.
So stick man. He liked to put it about. He was very popular with the ladies. Like I said, very broad-chested, strong guy from the beginning, putting it about. And that'll come up later. So,
can I just ask a question at this point?
Yeah.
Who doesn't like to put it about?
Well, everyone would like to put it about. Some people just
don't manage it.
Either have the charm
or an inability. Yeah, an inability to put it about in the right places.
Yeah.
Again, I'll point you to the time and
the 30s.
No. The amount of time.
How long?
The amount of time he's got in his hands through no family wanting to spend any time.
Commitments.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. Especially at Christmas, heaps of time to shag at Christmas.
Well, there's probably some sort of emotional scarring involved in that as well, I imagine.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yep. He's doing it tough. So when he worked for a law firm for 6 months until the Great Depression really kicked in, so the early 30s in Australia, and he lost his job.
And he was pretty firm when he was there.
Very firm. Yeah, very firm.
Anyone?
Yeah, we got you. And then. Oh, jeez. Buckland's gone firm. And then instead of sulking about it, he went, well, this law firm sacked me, I'm going to go into business for himself. And once again...
Just like the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah, hired an assistant called Janine, worked in an old fire station. Again... He kicked ass in that job and was successful straight away. Now, while at university, Holt had previously met Zara Kate Dickens. Good name. In 1934, they were contemplating marriage, but after a quarrel over, you guessed it, the fact that he'd been putting it about, they split up. So Zara travelled overseas, meeting Captain James Fell, a British Army officer stationed in India, who she married in March 1935. Her first son, Nicholas, was born in 1937, followed by twin boys, Sam and Andrew, born in 1939. However...
She was,
Yep.
Sorry.
No, you
She
go
was
on.
quick to put it about.
She was very quick. Well, it's the 30s, man. You don't have time. People
complain
die. Yeah.
But again, double standards, really. If she's upset about him putting it about, don't just go off and start opening it up.
But she
people to
she
put
did
it
get
out.
married.
We go, I would like you to try and pick yourself up now, mentally and spiritually, and just plonk yourself back in the 30s, mate.
Yeah.
Take that phone, fuck that off. Haven't got that. Tablet's gone.
Yeah.
I can keep the beer though, right?
The beer,
Yeah.
you can keep.
Yeah.
You can keep beer, but what's the economy like? Can you have that much? I'm not sure about that.
No. You got much free time? Plenty of free time. Got much to do?
Yep.
Not really.
Not fucking a thing, except
And you just got married.
except
She
Put it about.
yeah.
I'm gonna
Get
put
it wet.
out.
And and again, Wiggins, she still has less children than you do, so I don't see what the issue is.
Who's this telling her that she put it about?
I know. She's had two, but she's got 3 kids, but it's only from 2 births.
From 2 shags.
I am not.
Yeah.
I am not anti putting it about. I am anti
Double
pointing the
standard.
finger and then putting it about.
Yeah, but they were going to get married, and Harold's putting it about. Now she's married and putting it about. Now, having said that, it was rumoured that Harold Holt was the father of the twins.
Oh, why?
Because Zara was putting it about.
Okay.
Because Zara and her husband James Fell subsequently divorced not long after the children were born.
Ah, okay.
Because Zara was putting it about.
Because Zara was putting it about. And Zara and Harold eventually got married in 1946.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
got-
They're putting it about specialists, aren't they?
How many more kids did she have up until that point?
It's not a competition. We go, relax, back down.
Oh, dear. Meanwhile, Thomas Holt married Lola Thring. I just put it in there because what a great fucking name.
Thring.
Yeah, daughter of his business partner, F.W. Thring. Could have been Frank Thring, I don't know.
No.
In 1936.
No.
But he died.
I don't know.
No. He
Could have
di-
been Frankie.
He
Could have
died in
been Joni.
1945. Anyway, moving on to Harold's
But-
political... We've
Ain't
got-
no Thring.
Hang on, must have been Frank Thring's dad or some sort of relative, you'd hope, wouldn't you? How many Thrings would be in Australia?
Can't be too many Thrings.
Just phone in or write in. How many
Yeah.
How many Thrings do you know?
Yeah, we can have a Thring episode next week.
Yeah.
Have a Thring off.
Actually, don't
Yeah.
don't Thring. We haven't got a phone line.
Okay, so Harold ran for office a couple of times, but was elected to the Australian Parliament at age 27, and is still one of Australia's youngest ever MPs. Okay, he opposed socialism. He wanted to spread the wealth, but no socialism. Don't really understand that. But Menzies became Prime Minister in 1939. Holt's energy, dedication, and ability putting it about earned him rapid promotion, and in April 39, just listen to this job. This may be the best job ever. In April 39, he was appointed the Minister without a portfolio.
Oh, so they went, you're good. We got
Yeah, have a pay rise,
we've got nothing,
don't do anything.
Yeah, we've got nothing for you.
We've got nothing for you,
Just
but-
kind
Just
of,
yet,
just kind of
right.
hang about in case we want something from
Yeah.
you.
So they don't have that anymore, but usually that's what they used to do if the Prime Minister was like, that guy's going places. If I don't give him a ministerial position, which I don't have any room for, so he's going to get poached and go into business.
Yeah.
So I'll make him a minister for portfolio, gets a pay rise, doesn't really do much.
Well, I suppose being the minister for putting it about wouldn't necessarily have been not a great portfolio for like public view.
No.
Great portfolio for him. You know, really putting it out there for when he's putting
If
it
you were
about.
the minister for putting it about, that would be a pretty easy job, you'd imagine, right? You'd think people would be showing up.
Yeah. Well, that's right.
All right, what kind of policies are you bringing in budget time?
To the minister of putting it about. Yeah, are you
Well, there's a lot of-
are you
a
in
lot
charge of putting it about, or are you trying to promote?
I think both. Aren't you like covering the entire gamut of putting it
I
about?
don't even know that there's a public message. I just think you're there because you're good at putting it about, and people just have to acknowledge it.
Yeah, that's right. Everywhere you go, people are like, "Good work."
Coming in the morning. Oh, hi, Sandra. What's on for today? Well, Harold, you'll be putting it about.
Yeah, yeah,
We've got a meeting about putting it about at 9.
yeah.
and then we'll be putting it about a bit from 12 till 2.
An open session after lunch.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just an open forum. And then
Open
he goes,
forum, public.
Brilliant. All right, no worries. And he wanders off to his office. Fucking in the morning, fucking in the evening, fucking outside.
Yeah. All his press conferences are filmed from the waist up anyway, so it's fine. So he's just going at it. Anyway, moving on back to reality. In October 39, he became minister in charge. So he lost the minister for putting it about and became minister in charge of scientific research.
All right. He lost the minister for nothing. He lost that one.
Yeah. Well,
Shit.
he got promoted, I guess, to something,
okay.
the minister for something. But then he became acting minister for air and civil aviation once World War II kicked in. So this is where the legend of Harold Holt grew even further. In May 1940, without resigning his seat, so he's still a member of Parliament, Holt joined the 2nd Australian Imperial Force as a gunner.
Wow.
But a few months later, 3 cabinet ministers and several of Australia's top military staff were killed in an air crash in Canberra, and Menzies recalled Holt from the army. And then, again, giving him minister without portfolio.
So he
got demoted back to the awesome job.
he was minister for nothing, got promoted to minister for kicking ass.
Yeah,
and then
went to kick some ass,
got brought back to be minister for nothing. But his nickname was Gunner Holt after that.
Right.
It's not very good.
No, not at all.
It could have been better.
Yeah, well, it's better than
Colt? Colt Holt?
Colt Holt?
Shoot the bolt Holt?
Oh, Jesus. Nazi Flair Holt? Jap smoker?
Socialist, but not really Holt?
Yeah, not really socialist, but socialist, yep. Okay.
They're not as catchy anymore. They're getting less catchy.
The coalition lost the election and they were out of office for 8 years. So in 1949, Menzies began his record-setting term as Prime Minister for 17 years. And then Menzies appointed Holt the Minister for Immigration from 1949 to 1956, which at the time was already being touted as the certain successor to Menzies and a potential Prime Minister. Okay, he was in immigration was one of the first people to try and peel back the White Australia policy somewhat. The good old White Australia policy, which obviously dictated we only wanted whiteys coming into our country. Yeah. It's where a lot of the Greek and Italian post-war British and even German came into Australia as long as they were whiteys.
Well, for our economy to actually grow, we needed more people to consume and to collect tax off.
Yeah.
But they still felt a need to be pretty picky.
Yeah, pretty racist as well. But he was one of the first people to see the benefits of having strong alliance with Southeast Asia in particular, and fought for that, even though a lot of people didn't like it, that's for sure. Let's see. So he was also fighting against industrial unrest. There was a lot of communist influence in the 50s, in the union movement was at its peak, and therefore the right wing of the coalition was openly trying to smash the unions. And he sort of...
McCarthyism in America.
Yeah, McCarthyism in America was seeping through very, very closely into Australia. But he was pretty awesome at his job. Seems to be pretty awesome at everything he touched at the moment, especially his member. And he was able to negotiate with the unions so that in regards to the amount of industrial numbers of working hours lost to strikes... That makes sense? So the amount of hours was 2 million hours in 1949, and 9 years later he'd reduced it to just over 400,000. Okay, so he was really good at negotiating. He just seems to be awesome at everything. And in 1954, more importantly, he was named as one of Australia's 6 best-dressed men.
Oh.
No idea who the others were. I'm sure Keith Miller was in there somewhere. More cricket talk. Anyway, so then he became treasurer and the leader of the House, and he was just pretty awesome. And everyone just said, yep, he's going to be the next Prime Minister. He organised the establishment of the Reserve Bank and also had to prepare the nation for the introduction to decimal currency. It was Harold Holt who convinced the cabinet to call the new currency the dollar rather than the royal. So that was our money was going to be called the royal, paying in 10 royals or 100 royals, and he was the one to go, don't be stupid. Don't be fucking idiots. Okay, so when he was the treasurer, a lot of these things in the late 50s, early 60s, tried to literally slow the economy because inflation was going pretty nutty. So he introduced deflationary packages of tax changes. Everyone hated it. They called it the Holt Jolt.
That he didn't have a deflationary package of his own. Whoa!
Very rarely deflating. He had inflation in Australia was 4.5%. His inflation was way more than that.
Yes.
He also was called the credit squeeze, or the Holt Jolt.
This is getting saucy, isn't it?
It is, yeah. No one liked the Holt Jolt. When he was the minister for putting it about, everyone was a big fan of the Holt Jolt. Now they weren't.
Double standards again.
Double standards,
in Australia.
Yeah. That was the times. That was the times. Fickle public. Now, he copped heaps of shit because of his treasure.
I had no idea what you were going to say.
Package. Yeah.
Copped heaps of hedging.
Copped heaps of shit. Because they nearly lost the next election because of this Holt Jolt. So, in later budgets, Holt retreated to his Queensland holiday home while it was being prepared, and after presenting the budget, he took off overseas.
Oh,
so every year
tactic.
he had to present a budget. Here's a budget. I'm going to Thailand, and off he went.
Why are you presenting the budget
with shorts
on the front of a boat?
Yeah, that's right. Throwing it over through customs as he's walking off.
I read something once that he actually just folded it up into a paper aeroplane, ran past the room, threw it in, and was straight in a car to the airport.
Just dove out the door.
Yeah, pretty much. So there, I think that's a great method. I think they should bring that one back as well.
I'm going to start using that at work.
Or just Scott Morrison already in a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah. Just here's the budget, and look over there.
And my Uber's here, so...
I think that there needs to be maybe a week where all parliamentarians need to wear Hawaiian shirts. An entire week. That all of their public addresses need to be done in Hawaiian shirts.
Oh, goodness me.
Whilst running.
Oh, really? There are going to be some very red-faced, puffy, sweaty men
I reckon,
and women.
Having said that, I reckon our House of Representatives is the fittest it's probably ever been.
Yeah, no, that's probably true.
We've got no Kim Beazley, we've got no Joe Hockey. And they're kind of getting younger and younger a lot of the time.
It seems to be that, you can't be a big, fat, bloaty person if you're going to be in the public eye in politics.
Or just keeping up with everything that you have to do and everywhere you've got to be and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure if you wanted to, you could still be a fat bastard politician. But you're right. There does seem
no
to be
desire
far
there
less
anymore,
of them.
though. That's the problem.
No. You got to scratch yourself every now and then, I guess.
Bring it back. Bring it back. I can do it.
Bring back the fat. So, yes, he travelled widely in Southeast Asia, believed was the key to Australia's future prosperity. The previous minister for putting about continued as federal treasurer until January 1966, when Menzies finally retired. With Menzies' support, Holt was elected leader of the Liberal Party, thus becoming Prime Minister, having been MP for almost 31 years. So we had our first Prime Minister for putting it about. They held an election not long after that, and everyone fucking loves Harold Holt.
So I forgot about the Holt Jolt pretty fucking fast.
They gave the Holt coalition government a 41-seat majority, the largest in Australian history up to that time. 57% of the two-party preferred vote. That's fucking wads.
Mm.
One of his most notable achievements was to initiate the process of breaking down preferential white Australia policy. He also introduced the 1967 referendum, which overwhelmingly majority of Australians voted in favour of giving the Commonwealth power to legislate specifically for Indigenous Australians and include them in the Commonwealth census. The Holt government significantly increased Australia's military involvement in the war.
Yes.
Holt defended US policy. He also had been a close friend of US President Lyndon Johnson, who he had first met in Melbourne in 1942. And a lot of people were like, that Holt had been seduced by Johnson, which is great, especially when you hear the next phrase, which he coined the phrase, all the way with LBJ.
Yeah. Why? I don't know. Where do these rumours come from, though? Like, honestly.
Yeah. That why he's putting it about, you mean?
Just like what? He is an admirer of him and an admirer of the US policy. Must be sucking his dick.
Yeah, must be. Well, I don't think you've understood the phrase LBJ. I think you may have taken that the wrong way.
Well, this seems like a pretty apt point to throw in a bit of an LBJ fact if you're interested.
Always keen for a bit of that.
Speaking of putting it about, LBJ is pretty famous for referring to his penis as Jumbo.
Oh, shit.
And yes, apparently had a very large member. One time when a reporter was asking him about why the US continues to be involved in Vietnam, he pulled out his dick and said, "That's why." And
right up Holt's alley.
Right, exactly. No wonder they had a lot in common.
I've read that a number of places, so I'm leaning towards it being more true than not.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's totally off topic, but it's the same with the what's his name, Milton Berle. You remember who Milton Berle was? Milton Berle apparently had a huge cock and just used to get it out all the time.
Well, why wouldn't you
have it out? Oh.
So I did some LBJ research. LBJ's obsession with his presidential privates. He did indeed call his penis Jumbo. Yep. He used Jumbo to explain Vietnam. He liked whipping out the helicopter blade in the bathroom for all to see.
Whose phrasing is this?
I know.
Oh, it doesn't matter. And he had his White House shower renovated to include a custom dick nozzle.
What?
A dick nozzle?
I thought you were going to say dick holder. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
It's like a little trolley with 4 wheels.
So
he's got it hanging. It's like a dick wheelchair.
Just walking down the aisles with his little gurney.
Like as a stewardess on a plane, just with his trolley and with his enormous coconut going, penis.
Penis. Hot or cold?
Yeah. And then someone goes and tries to go to the toilet, and then they just kind of awkwardly stand behind him until they walk all the way down the aisle.
Oh, all right. Oh, anyway, back to it. All right, so back to Holt, Joel. President Johnson arrived in Australia in 1966 at Holt's invitation for a 3-day state visit, the first to Australia by a serving US president. The tour marked the first major anti-war demonstration staged in Australia. In Sydney, protesters lay down in front of the car carrying Johnson, prompting the mayor of the time to order the cars to run over the bastards.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Well, it's strange that the first time Australia was visited by a sitting US president correlated with the first time the US actually needed Australia for anything.
Yeah, but at this stage, like it's 1966, the war itself was still fairly low key.
Yeah, but it's the same. It's the first Vietnam, or Korea to some extent, but Vietnam probably is the first of these US-led wars where they go, can it not just be us? Let's get a few other people involved. So it looks
come on, Australia.
So it looks like a team effort.
Spread the wealth.
Come on, Australia. Oh, yeah. The President of the United States mentioned us today. So
Sir,
we're going to do what they say.
We have an invitation here from Australia. They want to know if you're going to come down for a 3-day visit. You know that we really need their support, sir.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And Harold Holt's the new Prime Minister. Oh,
Will I get to get my dick out?
my dick's bigger than... He's got a big dick, but mine's bigger than his. I'll be right there.
Do you think they docked?
Oh, dear. So, in Melbourne,
Yes.
a crowd estimated at 750,000 turned out in Melbourne to welcome Lyndon Johnson, although a vocal anti-war contingent demonstrated the visit by throwing paint bombs at his car and chanting, "LBJ, LBJ, how many kids did you kill today?"
And he...
That's catchy.
Yeah, and he waved his penis at every single member
Yeah.
of that crowd.
Yeah, and saying, "What are you saying about me?"
I made more with this fella.
Yeah, that's right. So we're, 40 minutes into it, and we're getting to the point of why we're here. All right, on the morning of Sunday, December 17th, 1967, Harold Holt, his neighbour, and several others drove from Melbourne to see the lone British yachtsman Alex Rose, sail through Port Phillip Heads. Around noon, the party drove to one of Holt's favourite swimming and snorkelling spots, Cheviot Beach on Point Nepean near Portsea, on the eastern arm of Port Phillip Bay, which is one of the southernmost points of Australia. Holt decided to go swimming, although the surf was pretty high and rough. Holt began swimming, but he soon disappeared from view. Fearing the worst, the others raised an alert. A large contingent of police, Royal Australian Navy divers, Royal Australian Air Force, helicopters, army personnel from nearby Point Nepean and local volunteers converged onto the beach. It quickly escalated into one of the largest search operations in Australia's history, but no trace of Holt could be found. 2 days later, on 19th December 1967, the government made an official announcement that Harold Holt, Prime Minister of Putting It About, was thought to be dead. The Governor-General, Lord Casey, sent for the Country Party leader to make him the interim deputy, or John McEwen, and was sworn in as caretaker Prime Minister until such time as the Liberals elected a new leader.
I thought you were reading this all from memory. That's disappointing.
Okay, so the media speculation that happened afterwards was what? Do we know any of the speculation into his disappearance?
Yeah, I think the main one that is that he got picked up by a Chinese submarine because he was such a communist sympathiser.
Yeah, because he wasn't... in the 50s, he was so good at talking to the trade unions. There was always talk that he was a commie. Strange commie, but either way. Socialist, not socialist.
Yeah. Hashtag we'll get going after this episode.
Yeah. Oh, dear. Yes, yes.
There's that.
Uh-huh.
Something you haven't mentioned, which I'm not sure if you're going to, is that he's...
I probably am.
Oh, okay. I'll stop there then.
Okay.
Very in depth.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
I'll keep that powder dry, and we go 1930 speed.
1930 speed. Yep. In Minister for Nothing.
Yeah.
speed.
I believe there was a mafia conspiracy theory that maybe
there was
taken out.
There was a mafia conspiracy. There was a Russian conspiracy. There was also, and has been speculation fairly recently in some pretty crappy documentaries that suggested that he might have committed suicide.
Yeah.
Which is very odd.
Considering how much he put it about, like...
Yeah, and how much everyone loved him, and apparently he was talking about his plans for the future anyway, and all that stuff. So,
what if Zara just got fed up with being cheated on and hired someone?
Just to fucking put him out.
Do some sort of Holt assault.
Oh, right.
Oh.
A Holt jolt assault.
Yeah.
Into the salt.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, in the salt, yeah.
Indeed.
Well, that's probably it then, because everything right.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I haven't found the footage of this, but I'd love to, because ABC Television broadcast a 1-hour docudrama in 2008 called The Prime Minister is Missing, which starred Normie Rowe as Harold Holt. Now, that must have been tremendously well acted. And one of the things that was brought up there was that the police at the time felt they weren't allowed to investigate too closely, because how far were you able as a policeman to investigate before you trod on people's toes? That's literally the only speculation that comes out of that.
Who said that, sorry?
So one of the police in this, it's a docudrama. One of the police were like, well, you know, we had to tread pretty softly and we weren't meant to ask too many questions.
That's a pretty amazing quote from a police person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We can't do our job because
the government will kill us.
Might implicate someone powerful. I'm sorry.
Exactly right. Yes. Yeah, but that was the 60s, and that's apparently what they did. The theory written by a writer, Anthony Gray, in 1983, suggested Holt had been a spy for the People's Republic of China, and a Chinese submarine had picked him up.
I love it. Like some sort of bat signal in the sky. A commie's in trouble.
Yep, exactly right. Let's find him. Yep. Where's the best place to pick in a Chinese submarine? The best place to pick him up is the furthest fucking point from China in all of Australia. In rough surf, yeah.
Yes.
So I again in going over this story, I went online and I typed in Harold Holt conspiracy theories. Now the first thing I came to was haroldholt.net. The Harold Holt murder, and it's all caps. It's all crazy person, fucking crazy. I was in the, pretty much. It was hurting my brain. It was hurting my brain looking at it. And the first thing it said was this website was moved to an Iranian server on the 9th of April 2017. They tried to shut me down, but they won't. Fucking hell. Anyway, I wanted just to read you this. Holt was murdered because he was opposed to American bases such as Pine Gap being built on Australian soil. Now that seems like a pretty piss-weak reason to kill a Prime Minister, is that, we want to build like American bases in Australia, and he went, no, I don't really like that idea. Well,
did he actually, though?
Not really, no. No, but this is what I want you.
American, did he not?
This is what I want you to read, or what I wanted to try and read, and you may struggle to follow it because it's written by obviously a fucking crazy person. Yeah. Okay. There was no evidence to support the official report of Harold Holt drowning, nor was there any evidence of a Chinese submarine abducting him. And of course, they, in inverted commas, all knew this. And it was 6 months after this website was up, they then get the Victorian State Coroner to hold an inquiry into Harold Holt's disappointment, to have the official finding 38 years later, how Harold Holt drowned on the morning of 16th of December 1967. However, the Victorian coroner ignored my request as shown by the below letter sent to him 16 months earlier to give evidence at the inquest into Harold Holt's disappearance, where the coroner also ignored my Brisbane Supreme Court sworn affidavit, which stated, as part of my duties I engaged in several clandestine operations, one of which was the removal of the body of the then Australian Prime Minister Harold Holt from his home out to the wading fishing boat the night before it was reported he had disappeared while swimming. So crazy man.
Sworn affidavit. Affidavit.
Well, them believing that he disappeared in surf despite no evidence, apart from the rough surf, disappeared Prime Minister and handful of witnesses.
Well, if you want to believe that, Buckman, you can. Yeah. But this guy was saying, hey, they're not even listening to me. I'm telling them I was there. I moved his body from his house and put him in the water and then put him on a different vessel. And then we said he drowned. I don't know why it made it even more complicated, but that's what happened. Anyway, this is the other thing that supports Crazy Man's theory, is that no official federal government inquiry was conducted on the grounds it would have been a waste of time and money. Can you believe that?
It might upset some people.
It might upset some people, yeah.
We're treading on toes again.
We're treading on toes again, yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So again, that's what Crazy Man was referring to on September 2nd, 2005. The coroner's finding was Holt had drowned in accidental circumstances. Let's get to the reality, shall we? So we have the conspiracy theories. This is a reality, and Buckland has alluded to it already. While deserted Cheviot Beach, on the day, the water was so choppy and murky you couldn't see anything. The police chief at the time said it was very turbulent and I was pretty surprised you would want to go swimming in that water. Now, Holt was a strong swimmer and an experienced skin diver. That was unintentional, but thank you. That was the worst clearing of my throat, but I actually needed to do it. Excuse me.
Sorry, I'd like to raise a conspiracy theory about your statement. That wasn't intentional. How could there's no evidence that was not intentional.
That's right. Sorry. All right. So,
well, he was. Let's face facts.
Yeah, as former minister for doing nothing, and former minister for putting it about, and later prime minister for putting it about. He had, again, you'll love the next phrase. His biographer described him as having incredible powers of endurance, especially underwater.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah.
That seems a strange thing to note about someone.
Maybe he used to indulge in a bit of mermaid activity.
Oh, God.
He could really talk anyone into anything.
Once he went down, he could stay down for ages.
That's right. All right. So, however, his health was far from perfect at the time of his death. He had collapsed in Parliament earlier in the year, apparently suffering from a vitamin deficiency. However, this was usually code at the time for parliamentarians instead of to cover up the fact that you had a heart condition.
I thought maybe a venereal disease, since it had the same letters.
Yeah, I'm sure vitamin deficiency was used for a lot of things.
But it's the same
60s.
letters.
Yeah.
It's not even.
That's right. He had VD in brackets, vitamin deficiency.
I mean,
sideways looking. Awesome. In September 1967, Harold Holt had suffered from a recurrence of an old shoulder injury, which reportedly caused him agonising pain. And for this, he was prescribed strong painkillers.
All that bowling ball action.
Do you want to explain how the toll that takes on the shoulder? No, all right. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heaps.
He ignored recent advice from his doctor not to play tennis or swim until his shoulder had healed, and reportedly obtained a prescription for morphine from another doctor. Police records mention Holt was seeing an orthopaedic surgeon in Melbourne for an injury. Inexplicably, the police did not interview the surgeon. If they had, they would have discovered that Holt was on a powerful medication, which could explain why he was acting irrationally the weekend he died. Holt may or may not have been taking morphine on the day that he died. Okay. What defeats the suicide story for me is that there were 4 witnesses on the beach, as you said before. Very few people commit suicide with witnesses present. No one thought about suicide at the time. It wasn't in his character, and those who knew him dismissed the idea completely. More importantly,
also that there are probably a couple of dozen easier ways to kill yourself than to throw yourself in rough surf and hope that you
drown. Yeah, because you can't.
But we have a history. We have a proven history of a man that when he put his mind to something, was quite successful.
Yes,
at
indeed.
most of those things.
Yeah, I think
and this is just another case of him.
Yeah, so you're calling it bloody-mindedness.
Yeah, I'm thinking he was pretty bloody-minded. I think he had a bit of arrogance about him, or whatever.
They reckon I can't kill myself by drowning in rough sea.
Yeah. Because I'm sure it's very difficult to actually kill yourself from drowning.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You can't actually do it. The only way you can do it is to run out of... I was going to say air, but no, you run out of energy. That's the only way you can actually drown.
It's infinitely easier to blow your head off or throw yourself off a cliff or whatever, because once you've done it, it's done. You can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
You can pull yourself up at any moment if you're drowning.
You have to swallow water into your lungs, and your body doesn't like you doing that.
And instinctually, even if you don't want it to, instinctually...
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Your body
would be fighting you.
That's right. So, anyway, apart from that, it's the conspiracy theory holds true.
It holds water, though.
Oh, yes, indeed. So, this...
101% water.
Well done.
All right.
Tom Frame, okay. The author also records, and this I don't know, this is sketchy details, might not be necessary, that Holt already got into trouble twice whilst swimming earlier that year in the same place. On the first occasion, while snorkelling at Portsea in May, he got into severe difficulties because of a leaking snorkel and had to be pulled from the water. The other time, he got swept away in rough surf, caught in a rip, and friends dragged him from the water, gasping for breath, blue in the face, and vomiting seawater. So, I don't know, it's still not Holt.
Third time's a charm.
It's still not...
Just make him fairly fucking thick.
Yeah. I would say so.
Yeah, that explains the...
But clearly he's not thick.
The crazy behaviour.
But he'd been saved twice already that year.
Yeah, well, this is my... We're coming to my theory. Okay, this is my theory of what happened. Okay, so I think you were going to hint at this earlier, Buckland, which was that Zara, his wife, had later commented that Holt had many a number of extramarital affairs in their life. Okay, and at the time, his rumoured lover, Marjorie Gillespie, it is rumoured, but it's pretty much she's on the record as saying, yes, I was his lover.
She's confirmed it, yeah.
Yeah, so Marjorie Gillespie, her daughter's boyfriend, and family friends were all at the beach at the time. Yeah. When Holt's wife, Zara, arrived from Canberra, Marjorie and her daughter had to be shepherded away. There had been a confrontation earlier in the month at a function in Canberra. So Holt had invited his mistress, and someone else had sent the invitation to Lady Zara at the same time. Oh. And so they both were there at the same time. Very awkward.
Hawaiian shirts?
Paper plane through the door.
A luau. It was the Liberal Party luau. You got to love that.
To the hooky la. The hooky la.
Maluki laka is the thing to say. The Liberals' Hawaiian Christmas is always a winner.
The Liberals' Hawaiian Christmas is a great title.
Okay, so and this is where my theory comes into play. So this is what Martin Simpson said. So Marjorie, the mistress of Harold Holt, her daughter's boyfriend, said he was showing off in front of Marjorie. On another day, he might not have gone in. It was really rough. Some of us went into the water up to our waist, but it was way too rough for us, so we left. He laughed and called us a pack of pansies. Oh. That was the last thing I heard him say.
That's a good last words.
Yeah. Yep. So yes, I've read that statement a few times. That yes, he laughed and called us a pack of pansies.
It does go to show, though, like you can be the most powerful man in the country. You can have all these accomplishments behind you.
Yep.
But still, you see a kind of physical feat there in front of you that might be able to impress somebody.
Yeah, even though he's already shagging her. He's already...
Yeah, exactly.
His mistress.
Yeah, she's keen. She is on board.
He's put it about with her several times. Yeah. And so... But no, he's still like, ha-ha, I'm more manly than you. I'm the Prime Minister of putting it about. Look what I can do. And anyway, and then he disappeared.
And then
he drowned, basically.
And he never came.
If you have a look at the footage of the day, there is footage of the day. It's just fucked up surf. Like, you wouldn't go in the water. We all grew up, around the beaches of the Central Coast. You know when it's a shitty, horrible surf where there's no waves at this beach. It's all crashing into each other. There's massive rips. There's rocks submerged. Yeah, but he was like, nope, I'm a man and I'm a strong swimmer, even though I might be on morphine and I nearly drowned a few months ago.
And I only have one working shoulder.
One working shoulder. I nearly drowned in a heart condition, possibly.
Can I throw something else out there, though?
Yeah, for sure.
He's possibly on morphine, but it's the 60s.
Yeah.
You've got a progressive guy.
Yeah. So he was on other stuff as well, you think?
Might have been baked off his fucking nut.
Yeah, because he was only 59.
I'd like to think that he was,
just
smoking a dude while he was swimming. I can swim and smoke a massive joint all at the same time. That's how much of a man I am.
I'm the Prime Minister. I can do whatever I want.
While getting
Look at me, Marjorie. Look at me, Marjorie.
Yeah.
Marjorie.
She also drowned.
Look at me, Marjorie. Look at me.
Yes.
Anyway.
He was 69ing LBJ, and he unfortunately was the one who was upside down in the surf.
That's in the water.
So, we come to the memorials and other legacies. And this is tremendous. Harold Holt is most famously commemorated by the Harold Holt Memorial Swimming Centre.
Yeah, brilliant.
The complex is already under construction at the time of Holt's disappearance, since he was a local member, and now it is named in his memory, which is fantastic, really.
No one ever went, should we swap this for something else?
But it was kind of the thing, it was already named after him, and so it would be weird, right, to be like, everyone learn to swim in the pool, it's way better. Way better. Don't go swimming in unpatrolled beaches.
Do you think that was it, though? Do you think people honestly went, well, we'll keep the name, it'd be a lesson to everybody?
I don't think it was a lesson. I think they were just like, no, I'm sure someone was like, no, it's a memorial for him and we need it. And more importantly, it would have been the first memorial too. So, you know, that's important to some people, even though he may have drowned.
Yeah.
But yes,
it's like whoever
that's not important right now.
Commenter on a YouTube video.
Exactly. First. It should have been first Harold Holt Memorial Swimming Centre.
Hopefully there are 3 others.
There is another strange thing as well, is that in 1969, a plaque commemorating Harold Holt was bolted to the sea floor off Cheviot Beach.
Good.
So,
For
to see
fellow skin divers to go and have a
yeah,
look.
you have to go down and have a look at it, in rough surf preferably,
Please.
in memory of Harold Holt, who loved the sea and disappeared.
Smoking a massive joint.
This is my favourite phrase, who loved the sea and disappeared hereabouts on the 17th of December 1967.
It was
Somewhere around here.
Might have been over there.
Might have been.
We're not really sure.
Yeah. So there is a plaque, bolted to the sea-floor, just so if you want to go down and have a look at it,
Yeah,
but don't die.
I've got a question, which you
Yeah.
might not be able to answer,
Uh-huh.
because if you could, you probably would have said it already.
Uh-huh.
How long and hard...
Uh-huh.
No timely coughs here from me. Did they look for the body?
I think so. They had a full-scale search for 2 days, and then they continued searching, I think, for 2 weeks after that.
See,
Just
I think the only...
by that stage, they were looking along the beaches.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the only... That's the reason why conspiracy theories probably get any fuel to their fire at all, is that how big a rip does it have to be to send a body so far out to sea that, you know, a search party looking for the Prime Minister of the country can't find it, you know?
Yeah,
That's the end.
but that's the problem. The problem is the water there as well was really like
Murky
yeah. Anyway, and one of the possibilities he has a heart attack or he gets dragged under, and he gets dragged out to sea, but then lodges under one of the, because it's all rocky shelf submerged
Outcrops.
rocks, so there's any chance he got caught under that.
But again, I'm still interested to know how extensive the search was, I guess. But I just haven't got a clear picture of how long and hard you look for a Prime Minister. You know?
Yeah, well, true. But I think maybe if you look up how many people drown and whose bodies are never found, that would be more of an indicator,
I'd
I'd say.
be surprised.
Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting point, and maybe we'll look... Or maybe I'll message old mate who runs HaroldHoltMurder.com or whatever it is and find out a bit about him. Jesus.
Get onto that Iranian server.
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know how he did that. Now, so Holt's widow, so getting back to her, so Holt's widow, Zara Holt, was made Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire, becoming Dame Zara Holt, DBE. She later married for a third time, because she fucking loved putting it about, to a Liberal Party colleague of Holt, Jeff Bate, who was and was then named as Dame Zara Bate. And I wanted just to read you some of the words she said about the affairs. About the affairs, I'll read exactly what she said. I'm as square as a cube. I never wanted to pay him back ever. I felt sorry for the women. I was in love with him, and I could understand them being in love with him too. So apparently she also caught up with old Marjorie after his disappearance and said, "Oh, honey, if only you knew what number in line you were." Okay. His last words to Dame Zara Bate were, "Before God, you're a rose of a woman." Oh, isn't that sweet? And, more importantly, when asked, how did you cope with the disappearance of Harold Holt, her response was, "I got fat."
Went for a swim. At the pool.
Went for a swim.
Nice work.
Yeah. By way of a folk memorial, Harold Holt is recalled in the Australian vernacular of doing the Harold Holt.
Yeah.
Or doing the Harry, which is rhyming slang for do or bolt, meaning to disappear suddenly and without explanation, usually at a social gathering.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Saturday night.
Saturday night, where's he gone? Oh, he's done the Harry.
Yeah,
He
he's done the
disappeared.
Harry.
And
Love it. Yep.
further than that, this is probably getting into quite specific talk here, but last year...
Indeed.
Are we going to talk about that?
No, you're right. You go right ahead.
Last year, Benny Wiggins there, his football team of choice, the Cronulla Sharks.
Now, sorry, I don't mean to continue the conspiracy theory, but do you know what year the Sharks entered the Australian Rugby League competition, Wiggins?
It was...
I'll tell you when it was. It was 1967.
67, yeah.
That's
Because it was it was our 50th
That's right.
anniversary.
yeah. So
Harold Holt.
yeah, but a lot because the Cronulla Sharks had never won a premiership in their 49-year history, and because they entered the competition at the same time that Harold disappeared, a lot of the fans decided to tie the two together, and a lot of the sort of banners and so on were all Harold Holt themed.
Well, that comes from...
There was a lot of electrical use
That's because
in the Shire.
Because Jack Gibson famously said, waiting for Cronulla to win a premiership is like leaving the porch light on
Harold
for Harold
Holt.
Holt.
Yeah, so they would have banners saying "porch lights on for Harold" kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I really love that tying together of sport and history like that. It's
And a dead prime minister. And when they won it last year, I think one of the commentators was like, "Turn your porch lights off." I'm sure confused a lot of people, but so that is our story of
I like that.
first, I think, and only prime minister who's just gone fucking missing.
Yeah, look, my kind of final thoughts on it are really that there is enough doubt around for potential conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
But the conspiracy theories people have chosen are the most stupid and unlikely.
They're so convoluted, aren't they?
A Chinese sub sitting off the coast, waiting for him to go for a swim. Like, fuck off. Will you?
Put on his scuba diver gear and then go to join them.
Yep.
Apart from anything else, like I don't know where Chinese subs were at in the 60s. I know they got a lot of help from the Russians because the Russians wanted a decent enough ally to be able to back them up, so they gave China a lot of military technology. But I don't know if they had mini subs capable of sitting off a beach waiting for prime ministers. I don't know if they had that class of submarine built yet.
Just tracking one dude.
Yeah.
So
they may have had the submarine, but one thing they didn't have was a minister of putting it a fucking
no,
bow.
they didn't.
And that's
they
what
still
they're
don't.
after.
So
And they still don't. Well, no, they've sort of reversed the option, haven't they? They needed a prime minister of not putting it about.
putting it about once.
Putting it about just once.
So no,
No
but
twins.
my point is, like, you got people going, "Oh, Chinese sub, definitely," but
Definitely.
But
Russians.
He's at the beach with his mistress.
Yeah. And all her
And all
family.
her family and friends.
No ties to any fucking political party or anything.
Exactly. Like it could, if there was something other than drowning, and it was probably drowning, why wouldn't it be some sort of, foul play or something at the hands of the secretive affair that he was having? Or
but really, more importantly, who goes to the beach with their mistress, the mistress's daughter, the mistress's daughter's boyfriend? It's been like, yep, we're putting it about.
That, though, like
Prime Minister. This is the Prime Minister. I'm shagging him. It's fine. It's all good.
Okay, this is why I love history so much, because it racks my brain trying to conceptualize time.
Yeah.
It was only...
How do you mean?
Well, I mean, imagine today Turnbull having an affair with somebody and just going to the beach with them, just hanging out at the beach with... like...
With all
That's going to be my question. Who currently is the minister for putting it about it?
but like, what I'm saying is 50 years ago, the Prime Minister of this country felt...
flaunting his affair.
Yeah, how does that happen?
with the press never far away,
or
with
the press
the
going,
police never far away,
or more telling.
But there's footage. There's footage of the beach. Yeah, there's footage of the beach.
The press being complicit.
Press turning a blind eye to it.
Yeah. Oh, there'd be heaps of that.
Imagine that. Oh man.
So
this is what hurts my head about it all. Anyway,
just makes them go whatever. Just no, it's fine. You can shag whoever you want.
Oh, we can't tell
only
the story.
50 years ago. I mean, it's 50 years ago. So there's both. It's only 50 years ago, and it's still 50 years ago.
Yeah, but imagine a press going, "Well, we can't possibly tell this story. He's the Prime Minister. It's the most important office in this country."
No, that's fucking
Pens
right.
away, gentlemen. Pens away.
But
Pens down,
I don't know
boys.
it's 50, like you're talking about it in 50 years, but it was only like less than 30 years where Clinton got busted with Lewinsky, and that was news fucking ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still news now. Still gets referenced.
Still gets referenced. Where's Harold Holt's fucking cigar?
That fucking photo of Lewinsky is a meme.
Yeah. No fucking Marjorie. No Marjorie work.
No Marjorie meme.
No bow-legged Marjorie work.
Bow-legged Marjorie. She wasn't with LBJ. She was just with Holt.
I know, but he was... Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But it's a sliding scale.
Well, I just wanted to finish with just a reminder. If you didn't hear it earlier, we go actually crunch the numbers on like how much water a dead person constitutes, and it ended up as 101% water a drowned person is. So we guys crunched the numbers for you there. You don't need to worry; it's already done.
If that's not the subtitle to this episode, I'll be very disappointed.
I was thinking of what was it? Liberal what?
The liberal Christmas luau.
Liberal Hawaiian
Christmas nights.
The liberal Christmas luau, wasn't that?